much easier for me to sync it up.
Can I say
Thank
it
you.
again?
No. All right. Hi.
Burrito.
Hello. Hi. Hello. Welcome. The first Video Games Anonymous podcast.
Also known as the VGA.
Also known as the Video Game Awards. Also
Yes.
known as...
Most important.
Hi, I'm Bryce. I'm here with my two main hosts. No offense, Colin, but I'm going to stick you out as a non-main host. Because I don't know if you're planning on being here every time. But we have Ryan. Yeah, fuck off, Colin. We have Ryan.
Hey guys,
Okay.
how are you? My name is Ryan, and I am, just one of the guys.
And then we have Scotty.
Yo. That's all I got.
And then we have Colin. Colin, go ahead.
Apparently, I'm the bitch boy now, and if it's gonna be something easy like this, I think I can do it
I
more
mean,
This was
often.
easy.
But
This was easy.
Yeah, it was.
yes,
Mm.
yes,
There
it.
wasn't a whole
Yeah, okay.
15-minute startup or anything.
Well, I mean, it's like somebody kept
Shh,
leaving the
don't let them
Discord
know that.
server.
No, it's a cool podcast.
No, but Colin, I'm more than happy to keep you on here. Be on here, or not every week.
I
We're
mean, if
doing
you
it.
don't keep me on here, I'm gonna track you down, kill your dog, family.
That's fine. That's
Oh,
perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So I don't know how we should go about this, but we're all just a group of people that play a shit ton of video games and don't really go outside. Well, at least I don't.
I go outside.
Okay, no need to brag here. And we're just gonna most likely hop on every once in a while and just talk about stuff revolving around gaming. And
Girls.
no, I don't. Females
Oh,
are scary.
Sorry, that's my other thing.
Yeah,
That's
females
my,
are scary.
alter ego.
You're all there.
Then what about
That's my,
grill gamers?
Real
My,
gamers.
Clark Kent.
I mean, yeah, I think it would be good to say how I know all of us, when I say all of us, I mean Scotty, Ryan, myself, all went in the same school district. We all know each other from there, but we really started playing video games. Was it on the 360 or was it on Xbox One?
It was when Smite came out, wasn't it?
It
So
was.
Xbox One.
Yeah, it was on Xbox One. I knew Jason through like Tom Shanahan and all them. So then after I met Jason, we started playing Smite together. And then Ryan came and then Bryce came
Yeah.
after.
If I remember, it was me, Jason playing, and then Scotty wasn't on after I had known Scotty. And he went, "Oh, Bryce is on." And I'm like, "Who?" And he's like, "That kid you used to sit next to in Eccles class." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That one kid that literally didn't talk to anybody. The funny thing is, I was in like every sort of club in like high school, so like everyone knew me, but I don't think I really talked to anybody. I was just that guy. I was that guy that just floated
The
around.
silent observer.
Kind of. Like I had friends, but like I don't think I talked to like half of them anymore.
Wait. Okay, when you said that you were in like all the clubs, were you a part of Anime Club?
All right, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Wait,
I
you're
said
not a
this
fan?
was going to happen. We're not doing this. Because then it'll just be It would be Scotty and Colin talking the entire way. They're going to form into a mega evolution called Skolin, and they're just going to be weeabooing it out. And we're not doing this stuff.
Stalin. That
It's like
sounds
fucking
great.
Stalin from World War II. We ain't doing this, okay?
What-
Hell yeah.
I wasn't a part of that club, but I do know like the majority of the members of that club. So, just I'll throw
okay.
that
Why
one.
am I not surprised? I didn't even know that they had a weeaboo club.
Yeah, we did. It was George, Andy,
Oh,
Chen,
so it was
and all
3
them.
people. Got it.
No, there's a big group. They had a bunch of like younger grades in it.
Are they the
Towards the
people
end of
that
the
stayed in the pit?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine you walk into a high school, and as you're walking, there's this giant wide open space. To the left is a little hallway. To the right, you walk towards the main office. Then there's this giant hole in the ground that is black, and it's got one support beam. All
What does the
these
color
little
have to be in there?
weeaboo critters, because it adds to the complexion of the wearing all black type of people that were in the fucking black pit. So these people would sit in the pit and play Yu-Gi-Oh, play your cards and everything. But it's kind of one of those things where you're like, when you walk by, you smell it in the air. It's like, is this a school shooter thing? Is this not a school shooter thing? You always wonder, because if anyone, this would be the people. And I would always make sure I came in the other side of the school.
Hold on. I got a counter argument for this. Okay, so card games are kind of expensive. There is no fucking way that someone who plays cards will be a school shooter because they won't have enough money to like afford a gun. let alone afford food.
Listen.
I know this from
My problem isn't
experience.
the Yu-Gi-Oh playing. It's the problem is the people watching the hentai in the fucking back of it. Okay, then they're the people you really gotta watch out for because
Okay, they have to get that hentai for free. Okay, they can't pay for it.
what's the fucking difference? It's still awful.
That's what you think.
Whether you pay
Speak,
for it or
speak
not.
of your own opinions. I'm an avid hentai fan. Okay.
I thought this.
I'm just saying, have you never seen some of the cartoon ones? I've seen Lois get plowed a good
I like
5
it.
different
Is that
times.
hentai or anime? What's the difference?
Oh God, you have so much to learn.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
before we
it's-
continue,
No.
no, okay, we must acknowledge that Disney is completely responsible for making the furry fandom as we know it today.
That's perfectly fine.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, hold on. I like.
As long as that's like the baseline where we're working from, I think we can make
I
this
love
work.
that we talked about how we all met, and then just skipped over the part of how we met Colin.
I have no idea
You
how
know,
the fuck I
we
met
met-
you guys. It might have either been CS:GO or Smite.
It
I
was
cannot
still
Still
remember.
trying to get over the furry fandom thing in a video game podcast.
All right, hold on. We'll get back to that. Let me just say, we met Colin. We met you through Kevin because Kevin invited you to the Discord server, and then we tried to play CS:GO with everyone, and then it ended up just being like you playing with us because Kevin's Discord hates him. And
Yep.
then we
And
tried.
I
playing with
remember
us.
being a higher rank than any of you for a moment in time, and you were all super salty as fuck.
And Kevin, for the
Especially me.
record, is another Wisconsin boy that, if I remember right, Bryce met playing Call of Duty with another kid that we went to school with.
I
called
met.
Kenny Locke.
So yeah, I met Kenny Locke. We started playing Call of Duty together. We had a gayer clan thing. That's a whole other story. And we
For a
started
fairly
playing
gay.
with that clan's still around.
It's around, and I could see you really headband the boat there.
That there's so many clans. We can spend a whole day talking about my clans.
Notice how
Sawyer.
there's multiple.
We met Sawyer through. I met Sawyer through Kenny. Then at some point, Sawyer got me to play Smite, in which I played with Kevin, and that's when me and Kevin became friends.
Wait. So I thought you knew Sawyer and them because you go to Wisconsin for your family
No.
stuff.
No, I met.
That's
them
not how you met
through,
them?
Video games. Yeah, no. Yeah,
Really?
some of my best friends.
Wait,
I've
wait,
never
wait.
met anybody through video games like that. And, like, do you remember the kid DJ I used to
I
play
think
with?
so.
Like, me and Jason used to play with him a lot until Jason shot DJ's friend in the head
yeah, I
a
Oh,
lot
remember
that was
that.
a fun
Uh,
story.
in Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1 beta, everybody.
Dark times.
And then he stopped talking to me and would tell me to not join Jason's party. And I was like, bro, I know them more than you. I'm
Fun
going over
fact,
there.
if a guy tells you in message on Xbox to stop shooting him in the fucking head, you stop shooting him in the fucking head, or you will not talk to him again.
I don't think that's. Hold
He
on.
was just he was
That's
an
not
angry
true,
fellow.
'cause I think I sent several angry messages at people.
Yeah, look how many communication bans you got.
Okay, well, besides that point,
You're one of those avoid players, aren't you?
no, I'm not. Surprisingly, I hate
No,
that.
but you
I
have an
hate
alt
that
account
system.
already.
Yeah.
I had an alt account so I could talk to people because I got insta banned one day for no reason. Communication banned.
Yeah, no
I literally
reason.
think I told a guy to like stop, and I got communication banned. Like it was something like so stupid that I shouldn't have got communication banned.
That's because it's like YouTube. They don't check their regulations and auto bullshit.
Which is absolutely stupid. All right, well,
Do you guys remember my communication
No.
ban?
wait, didn't you send a guy like I fuck your dad?
I told a dude.
Oh,
only thing I sent him was I fuck your dad, and he reported me, and I got
Probably a
communication
12-year-old
ban.
that was like,
And I was
"Daddy,
like,
no."
dude, I will take that. I'm completely fine
We
with
take those.
God, that's so funny. I love that happened.
Well, that's
Yeah.
But in all case, that's pretty much how we all know each other.
Yeah, well, that gets that out the way. Now back to Ryan's furry obsession.
My obsession, yeah, okay.
All right, you're not a fan?
No, I'm not.
Foxes
a fan.
don't turn you on.
Not really.
Have you seen that TikTok of the person in a fox costume who like turns their head all the way around and runs at you like a possessed demon?
No.
I feel like that's your fantasy.
No. Did you see?
Wait, Bryce, you're on TikTok?
No,
What the
I'm not on
fuck?
It's called
TikTok.
YouTube.
It's yeah.
YouTube, TikTok.
Mason loves to send TikTok videos. Like he likes to point them out to people. Like
Huh.
Really?
that. Okay, I have a question. I have a question for the group. Is the one chick from TikTok? Is
Oh,
it a
it's a
girl
guy.
or is it a guy?
It's
Girl.
I
a
don't
guy.
know what you're talking about.
No,
I
it's
think
a
it's a
guy.
Girl.
It's
I
it's
think
literally
it's a guy.
just like C9 Sneaky. If you guys know who that is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Who you're
Okay,
talking about.
I'm
You
gonna
sent
put
me-
this
you
out there.
showed me that.
C9 Sneaky or Snaky?
It's
Or what the
sneaky.
fuck you pronounce
like,
it?
He's sneaking in the
I
woods.
I would rate a 10 out of 10 would smash.
He's a very attractive woman.
You know what? I am.
Of course you
I'm,
would,
yep,
Colin.
I'm on Scotty's side. Why am I not surprised?
I
It's
mean,
got a tail. It's for you, right?
I love how this is already all over the place.
I mean, structure. What
What's
do
the
you need that
structure?
for? It's
I-
something that collapses.
Well, can we
every
like
time
go
we're in a
through?
party.
What would you like to go through?
Okay. Let's just go through what each of us like plays most of the time, like what genre or like a specific
Myself.
video game. We could try
That's
that.
actually like a very, that's what I was really about to go for too.
Okay,
I'm
well,
glad we're on
you
the
guys
same
are in
brain.
Who's
Yeah.
the co-host?
It's actually Colin. Colin's actually the host now.
I'm
yeah.
just, you know what?
Yeah, no,
I
Colin
wasn't-
actually
I wasn't
owns
here,
this
so it's
entire
quite all right.
organization that we're going for. That's not actually an
I'm
organization.
glad you know what? He owns the video game awards.
He does
Congratulations.
the whole show. You have
Shit.
to produce that next year. Have fun.
Did we not check to see if that was trademarked?
What, the video games awards?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's going to be
It's
trademarked.
trademarked, but the VGA is not trademarked. It's the fucking
Why is the
acronym.
acronym not
It could
trademarked?
be an acronym for anything.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess
well,
I'll go
no.
first. I play.
Let's do the Discord order.
Fuck. What do
What
I
does it
play?
matter?
I
would be
primarily
you,
play
Bryce.
like shooters and some strategy games, not like anything hardcore. And that's about it.
What would you say would be hardcore? Like Civilization?
No, I love
No,
Civ,
like-
but I can't do RTSs like the Star Wars game that me and Ryan are playing. The,
Which is a good game. I
it's
hate
a-
to tell you.
it's a fabulous game. I like the game. It's just it stresses me out that it's real time. Like
Yeah.
if it's turn based,
I
I
know
can
you
do it. I love it.
Well, that's the problem. That turn-based is not really that tactical. It's not.
It's not,
it's
but
even
it
that-
allows you
It's
to
tactile
like,
to a point, but it lets you
Yeah.
think too much. Is the problem. Now I understand the flaws of real-time RTS and the, you have to constantly micromanage everything. You can only see so much, and if you misclick, you ruin everything. You got to be on top of it. But when the AI does nothing but spam bullshit, fucking rebel heavy tanks, it's just kind of retarded.
Well, that's just AI's for you. I think that would be a fun game.
By the
to
way,
get us
Bryce.
all in.
By the way, Bryce, I do realize that those capture points, when you capture them, also give you population cap. That was where I messed up, and I can't believe I forgot about it. So when we were fighting over the population cap, it would have given us more troop space.
Wow. Well, we can always go back to that.
Interesting.
Well, no, that's
Well,
fine.
that's my basic genre. Like, I mean, I play video games way too much. Like, I play easily over 40 hours a week. Video games. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if you're ever online.
I am online. I
You
just
play for
up
3
here
hours
offline.
a night. You play from like 11:30 until 3. How do you
Yeah.
play 40 hours a
I
week?
can play like 40 hours. I go in.
This isn't a full-time job, dude.
It's a full-time job.
What are the words we can and can't say? Because I want to say something.
You can say whatever you want, and I really don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think you're gonna regret that one, so I'm just gonna skip the words.
Except for that, except for the obvious
The
words.
words.
That's where you're wrong.
That's where
Fuck
you're
Buckle
off.
up, Buckaroo.
Ryan, what do you play?
What do I play?
Yeah.
Whatever you guys play, really.
Do I have like
Honestly.
a preferred genre?
I mean, I go back and forth whatever I feel for the week, kind of.
I mean, I really do like sandboxes. I should add that to my list.
Well,
Alright.
I mean, I kind of play all around all types of games.
I really just want to be
but-
a farmer. Let me
I mean,
just be
am
honest.
I asking the question, or
Nah, I just want to talk over you.
you just want to talk over me? Okay, we're doing the reverse.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's quite it's.
All right,
it's okay.
Scotty, how about you? What do you play?
All right. Well, anyway, that's fine. Go ahead, Scotty.
Well, my fucking the games I play are just nothing like the games you guys play. I used to play first-person shooters
You
a
used to
lot,
Play Xbox.
and then I think yeah, that too. I got really sick of shooting games, I think. So that's why I really don't play that much
Wait,
anymore.
hold on. So you're saying that the shooter market is a little oversaturated?
Yeah, exactly.
What
Colin, you
the
know. Come on, man.
fuck?
Watch your
Hashtag
language.
Okay,
Whoa.
continue.
Hashtag spiky zone. Spicy zone.
Spicy.
But as of lately, I've been playing mostly horror games.
With
And,
your one game, Dead by Daylight, does that count as horror?
No. I've been playing Outlast. I've been playing The Evil Within.
Oh.
I play a lot of
I
single
play a
player
lot of
games.
single-player games.
With that, when you guys aren't
Well,
on
it's because
like
you
that.
don't switch to Xbox anymore. You used to play Smite a lot.
Well,
Well,
it's-
you
well-
don't play it at all.
Listen, my problem is when I play video games, I do it to relax and
Yeah.
like chill out. And when I was playing Smite, I was
Well,
getting
that's your
way too
problem.
angry.
You have the Bryce
and-
syndrome, is what I like to call it. The competitive.
Well, that's
nature
why I
of
stopped
bullshit.
playing it. Because I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
Once I start playing a game way too competitively, it was like when I used to play Overwatch a lot. And there's people I was playing with, they're like, you need to take this seriously. And I was
Well,
like,
that's what happens.
Bro, I
well,
did
this
this
is what
for
happens
fun.
when you join a fucking school team. Usually, you know, they treat esports teams like regular football teams now. The object. Well,
yeah, well, that wasn't the point. The point is that they wanted me to lose hours
Yeah.
at work to dedicate
It's
to
the
them.
same
And I'm
thing with
like,
football.
y'all don't pay my
It's the same thing with
bills.
football.
I need to pay my
Right,
bills.
with what you're saying there, some schools, yes. The school that
I think-
Scotty was at, I don't think they had
Yeah,
any
I don't-
funding, any funding.
It was. I'm not.
It was
I'm
all
not
us
agreeing
funding.
with it.
It was
I
all
think
us.
It's absolute bullshit. But I'm just saying that, like, you know. That
All right,
shit,
we
like,
keep getting off
happens
topic.
nowadays.
Ryan, would you like to actually tell us what your genres were,
I
or
said
would you?
what I was gonna
Okay.
say. All I was gonna say is it changes.
And then, sorry, I keep.
No, go ahead. Sorry, you were blaming me last time. Last time, it's your turn.
Colin, let's go over your topics, and then we're gonna come back to the whole school esports theme, because that's a very serious discussion.
Oh no, it's not. It's
Video games that I find myself playing most of the time are ones that usually take a lot of time to really get things going. Stuff like Monster Hunter. I used to be a big fan of Destiny, but now I think they've just been running into the grounds, personally. And I don't find too much enjoyment in it, or as much as I did at some point. But I usually can only play multiplayer games, because I usually found myself getting kind of depressed playing single-player games, knowing that I'm not, like, sharing that experience with anyone. So I try to always play multiplayer games, but, you know, since these cucks won't play with me a lot of the time, and this is kind of bygones.
I'd like to point out that one of his all-time favorite games is Deep Space Waifu Nikomai. That's you know, because it's got the
Deep Space
yeah, it's got a
Waifu?
big you know, he's big on the anime stuff, optic weeaboo type stuff. So he's very
I
big.
don't see your
I
point.
think Ryan, I think you were mistaking him for yourself. Didn't you just get gifted that, and you spent like
I
20
did just
hours
get
on it?
gifted That.
For like
you
the
know
last.
what? And I'm pretty sure that I denied the gift. As a matter of fact.
I still want to know what happens when you
remember.
deny a gift. Did you get refunded, Scotty? I hope you got refunded.
No, he
He's lying to us.
I guess I accidentally accepted it. Oh, look, it is in my library. Hold on.
With that being said, let's go back to the whole esports thing. I know I want to see esports get as big as it is in like was it in Asia, where it's like a widely accepted thing in America
Is it?
And
not?
respected.
Why is it respected though?
You
It
don't.
could be a wide thing.
I'm very.
It's such a core part of their culture.
Yeah, they're so much more in. They're all weak, as Americans would put it. They're weak and scrawny, so they can't play.
Well,
real
I mean, if
sports.
I took 2 atomic bombs, I would be. Weak too.
Right.
Yikes.
I mean, the structure, you know, is kind of like our podcast.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oof.
But with that being said, how do you guys feel about it? Do you really want to see it like growing, or do you think it's fine where it's at right now?
I really don't care.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
don't
I
care?
play video games. I play video games. Like, why can't I be on an esports team? It's
Well,
not like you're bred
now-
to be athletic.
With that being said, to become on an esports team, you have to dedicate like literally.
Well, that's the thing is
so
that
much time.
the people that are in esports have dedicated their life to video games. Other people that have gone to school or done certain things or gotten jobs can't dedicate that much time for it. So
Well-
you have to be kind of in a scenario where you can dedicate your full life to doing it.
Well, I mean, most of them started out with like a job and just grinding.
Right, but they really had no other cares in the world. They didn't have families yet or anything. So, you know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
to basically, I think, know people too. You have to know people and you have to have the opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. But with social media, that helps you
Well,
get
yeah.
to know people. Stuff like that.
Yeah, that is one other thing. You also need a fan base. Like my whole problem is like, well, you do because look at
You could get
look at half of the people that do the CS:GO stuff. Like oh my god,
Yeah,
what's his name? The dude that plays like PUBG
Ninja?
and Fortnite now. He was on
He's
Cloud9.
Cloud9. Oh, Shroud.
Ninja.
Shroud.
Trout. Nobody like without him being like the CS:GO person that he was and the fan base that he brought with him.
Well,
Would he be that big of a
well,
streamer
that's
right now?
when after his
Well,
esports
that's after.
career,
Yeah,
though.
I'm saying like, but like
yeah,
me and
before,
Ryan are talking.
like, working your way to esports.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay, no,
like,
no, I understand. Yeah, but well, even with that,
No, absolutely.
you
That's
still
because
need
people. The thing is that a content streamer. Look at Ray Narvaez Jr. Worked at Achievement Hunter. He had to play starting out what Achievement Hunter wanted, what the fans wanted. Once he gets his cult following or his following, he could switch over and play whatever he wants because those certain people, your followers, play for your personality. They watch your stream for your personality, not the game. When you're doing something as big as
Yeah.
like esports or whatever, they play to watch the game, not to watch you. When you
That-
switch over to streaming, it's more of a they come to watch you, not the stream.
with that being said, I think
no,
that
I
really
understand.
only affects tournaments. Like they like to watch the games during tournaments because you have a
Well,
lot of
yeah.
like space station, optic gaming. You have a lot of fans that love the creators, who are competitive players, who then go to tournaments and they'll support that team.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. How do you feel
I
about
don't
it,
know.
Colin?
well, my
So me personally, I don't care how big esports gets personally. I just want to get to the point where it's respected. Once it gets that like level of respect where if you walk into the public area anywhere and you ask someone if esports is respected and if they say yes, then I think that's the level that esports should be going for. And as far as how games become esports, I don't think the company should be the ones dictating that, like with what Blizzard is doing with Overwatch. I mean, sure, there was a very dedicated following behind the game, but I think Blizzard was taking too much of a heavy-handed approach to making Overwatch a competitive game for esports. Perfect example, Melee. The only reason why that game is still played today is because the people who have been playing it are super passionate about it. I think before a game becomes an esport, that there has to be a lot of people willing to dedicate to making tournaments and making them very often instead of having companies like
So what you're saying?
basically trying to
Sorry,
start
yeah.
something.
So what you're saying is you'd rather have the fans make the tournaments rather than the company.
Absolutely.
My only problem with
I mean,
that is most of the like. There's been a few games that have came out once the whole esports scene has like risen in America, as it's on its rise. Like Rainbow Six Siege, they made that game to be competitive, to be watched.
Yep.
Overwatch did the same thing, and I know there's another one. I just can't remember.
You know,
off the
that
top
could
of my
bring
head.
up a whole different discussion on how games nowadays are more tailored to that because they don't really care what the casual gamer has to play.
I honestly think that could be a whole
I think that's a
entire
huge
podcast.
that's
topic.
a huge problem. Yeah.
episode 2 come back next week.
If one of us
Maybe.
managed to like write this down and remember it, yeah. Anyone?
I'm just gonna go with the flow, man.
I'll write
Big
it down.
company bad, little company good. Look at A Way Out. Great single player story. Great game. Shout out. Not sponsored though, but great game. Little company. Wish they did DLC. You know, the whole 9 yards. Not a shooter.
Yeah.
Mixed shooter, but pretty good.
So what was the question that we were supposed to write down?
I can literally write it down once I listen
It
back to this,
really
but it's
doesn't
it's
matter.
No, I'm doing it right now.
It's literally just talking about esports and companies versus fans. Just something along that line.
It's called What Does
Well,
the Company
Wait,
Care
there's
About?
another thing. There's another thing, like Ryan just said with a single player game, just like getting really under the radar. I always say it because it's one of my favorite games of all time, the Hellblade game. The whole thing is with that game, that was legit. The people that made the Devil May Cry, the like reboot one they did, Ninja Theory, when they made Hellblade, they legit had nothing. And that was their company, that was like their baby. They were like, we're going to make this game the way we want it. Nobody's going to tell us how to make it. And that game, when that game came out, I think it was 2016, that game went up for Game of the Year. Because, like Colin said, it's a passion for that game. And that game legit raised money for, like, mental health. Like, it did a lot.
Yep.
And it's just, it wasn't a AAA game, and not a lot of people knew about it. If you were in, like, the gaming, like, a lot of people at my work, or at my school knew about it, because it was making waves. And, you know, not a lot of companies can just say, hey, we're making this game. No one can tell us what to
the
do.
problem when it comes to low games like that is going back to the bad taste that people got in their mouths when they look at the indie category and you see all these 99-cent games that are absolutely shit on the Xbox Marketplace and Steam, that they don't want to search through all that shit to find a good, not known like indie developer
find
or
that
a
hidden
small
gem.
company. Yeah, because there's so much shit. Like
Yeah, I
No
gotcha.
Luca No, like awful games like that. The fart generator for 99 cents. All that useless shit, and then you got to try and find something out of it, like needle in a haystack. I don't think it's worth it when people, because everything now is sponsored nowadays. When you Google top games of 2018, you're not going to see a way out. They're going to look at the shit that's sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely, yeah. It's like the Steam marketplace. It's completely riddled with just copies of games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, with that being said, it's going to happen. That's something that it's going to be so hard to end and put a stop to because you can't.
It's going to be Ready Player One with this screen full of 80% ads.
Don't do that.
Except you don't have the
insane.
ability to put an ad block.
Yeah.
But I mean,
That's a true
I
nightmare.
wish I was a Sixer.
but like I don't know. I love to see the advancement that like esports is going, but I know a lot of people really just don't care about it. Just don't give it the respect that's needed. To bring it all back to what we were originally talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I made my comment
Yeah,
about
go ahead.
esports. So my whole thing with esports, like I'm half and half. So I'm with Ryan, where the sense of it's not actual sports, but I'm with Colin, where I want it to have
I
its
thought it was
recognition.
recognized.
Not
It's
no,
recognized
it's
as a
getting
joke.
there.
Why is it a joke? Wasn't
Yeah,
it
right,
like
hold
on
on.
TNT?
right now.
Yep, it was, but people still deny that esports is legitimate.
It's
Well,
still
it could
very.
be a thing. I don't think it's to the capacity of like a real sport, but I mean,
It's
how?
more, dude.
How?
Look, wait, listen. So think about it. These people that are playing this video game, when a football player, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's going to be a football player that's going to beat a fucking esports person. No, but the dedication these people have, they go to, a football player goes to practice. An esports player goes to practice. And Matt Pat at Game Theory, when they showed, I think it was the Dota competition on ESPN, he broke down like the practice schedule of NFL football players and esports players. And esports players had more time
Again,
practicing.
You're
And then he did another breakdown of, all right, this was the NBA Finals. It had this many views on a public TV station. This was the Dota final that was broadcasted on Twitch, where if you're not into video games like us and everything like that, you don't know what Twitch is. No one knows what Twitch is. So that was I don't want to say a private site, but a not fully. It wasn't a
right,
public.
But here's the problem:
TV
you're,
station.
You're practicing compared to athletic practicing for a football game is completely different. You could sit here for hours and not realize time go by as you're practicing. Where in football, you're getting the shit kicked out of you, the grinding. Or in hockey, you're getting the shit kicked out of you, you're grinding. You feel a difference. It's a lot harder to practice for that sport, which is why you can do more sittings. You can play more time versus doing like a video game type style.
But not really, because think about it. They're going to get better and better and better. A lot of times when we play games, yeah, we do, like you play Destiny to grind and get better gear and stuff like that. But when we all sit down to play games, if we get sick of a game, we can just go, okay, new game. If a person is getting paid to play that game, it's like being sick of it. Like you will get, it's a job at that point.
Take
But my point.
take pro player Incon. He's a Smite player. He has to sit there, and it's nothing like, it's not as physically demanding, but it is very mentally demanding. You have to be, your reflexes still have to be pretty up there, and you have to have the knowledge of the game. Just like with sports. You have to have the knowledge, you have to understand plays, you have to understand this is what needs to happen to get this to happen, such and such. It's not the same type of, like, practice, or, same stresses, but they do have their own on their own scale.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I could say that if you sat down and dedicated the time that players do to be on esports team, if you played one game over and over again, even if you hated it, and you played it, eventually you would be top tier. And I'm pretty sure that at least 80% of the world, if they put their mind to being an esports player, they can do it. For football or NHL or that, you have to be born that way in order to even compete. Because if someone's 5'11", 140 pounds, they can't gain weight, like some of the people we know, they don't have a shot in the NFL. But they could sit down, dedicate their time, and play esports. I'm just saying that there's a certain breed that can play a sport versus playing video games. And that's why I think that it's not held to such a high standard.
Now, with you saying that, I am absolutely on the opposite side. I think you could...
And that's, I said, it's
yeah,
going to
no,
be an unpopular
no.
opinion.
I understand that, but what I think if you put your heart and soul into it, you can become it. That's a general belief in my mind. That's something in my roots that you won't ever be able to take away from.
The only reason why Vince Papale was given a shot on the Eagles was because of the replacements. They needed replacements. The literal only shot, and it was because he honestly, what did he play for a couple seasons? He wasn't even that good. That's why the Eagles were the only ones to pick it up. He couldn't get a contract anywhere else. My point is that if just because you dedicate time to a sport like hockey or football or
Nothing's
that doesn't
guaranteed.
mean you're going to get good to it.
Nothing's guaranteed.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you dedicate time to playing a video game, you're going to get better to it.
See, that's
No
where
matter what.
I disagree.
Can I?
I can
my
agree
word
with
in?
you, Ryan.
Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. What's it called? So I agree with Ryan. Like, if you do put a certain time, but there is certain talent out there that you just can't match. Like what Kenny asked when he was at his prime with CS:GO. That motherfucker was doing shit that people weren't even thinking of, and it was just how it was. Like he was born with that talent and did get better. But like I said, I'm not going to take too long. So Colin, please go.
Okay. So, looking on the interwebs, Ryan, would you consider chess to be a sport?
Chess?
Chess.
No, I would not.
Well, the International Olympic Committee considers chess to be a sport.
Okay, I don't consider
And-
half the things in the Olympics a sport.
I know, but if it's the same people who are labeling more physically intensive sports, such as the 100-yard dash,
Which is not a
400-yard
sport, it's an
dash,
activity.
They say it's a
But
sport.
it's not, it's an activity.
But
Just
they're
because
running.
I could say that getting up to get a drink of water is a sport.
Is it recognized by the Olympics?
But that's the thing, you're giving them the power to recognize it. Just because the Olympics say it is doesn't mean anything.
But I mean, they're
Then-
the fucking worldly games, man.
Just because of the worldly games doesn't mean anything. So, I mean, people
Well, then-
consider hunting a sport. I don't. I consider it hunting. People can say that competitive shooting is a sport. I don't. It's competitive shooting. There are certain things. Sport requires. It's a competition. There's a difference between a sport and a competition. A sport, there has to be an objective with rules and a setting. There has to be an objective, two teams playing against each other. A competition could be one person playing against another.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I was about to sit there and say, like, they're basically the same thing. But I don't know. So you're saying football's a sport, but esports would be a competition? Is that what you're getting at? Is that would you agree with that statement, or is that completely off basis and I'm misunderstanding?
I would kind of say that esports it's still a sport, but I'm just not considering it as high a level as a sport.
So okay.
As football athletics wise. Like, I think that the degree of talent and how you have to be bred and the luck, everything that's involved in becoming a football player or a basketball player or someone of that nature, there's a lot more requirements than there is someone in making esports. I'm fine with it being called a sport because it's a 5v5 game. There's an objective. You play a game. My problem is it should not be held on such a high pedestal as those type of sports. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be recognized as a sport.
So
But I just don't see a necessity to like compare it to other much harder things.
So you still accept it as a sport. So you're
Yeah.
okay. That's my biggest thing with it. Is people who just don't accept it as a serious thing.
Here's the thing: if it was a one-on-one, it's not a sport. If it's a tournament between two people with a game. They're playing a game.
Yeah. Well,
So-
football's a game. So like
But
everything.
that's what I mean.
is a game, yeah.
They're playing a game.
Okay.
However, if you're at the Olympics and you're sprinting, that's not a game. That's a competition. If you're running around in a circle, that's not a game. Relay races, they're a race. It's not a sport.
I gotcha.
Swimming, not a sport.
And there goes all of the swimming listeners, people who really favored the
Okay.
pool.
All right. half of the things in the Olympics are not sports; they're competitions, they're activities. Just because you could run 100 feet doesn't mean that you could be a good football player, which is a sport.
Call of Duty went to I think it was the X Games, and was actually given like their own stage to perform at, and like there was actual medals given out. I'm pretty sure it was the X Games. This was a few years ago. I don't know if they do that every year or not. But with that being said, I gotcha.
Here
You're
we
not
go.
a fan
Follow
of you just don't want to recognize it at the same level. That's all. Which I can understand. I wouldn't say, like, I mean, you sit there and say, yeah, he plays sports, like football. He's just as good and strong as a guy playing video games. Like, that's not going to happen. The guy who plays video games with the forearms of a pencil are going to easily get snapped. But, yeah.
I have a question for
I
you.
think it's still, there's so much more for esports to do in this country. Like,
I have a
there's
question
so much more places they can go.
For all three, of you,
Especially
I
with,
have a question.
I
like,
can respect that.
they have TV time, but they're not getting like the times that I guess they kind of make sense because it's all like real late night. And I feel like that's when a lot of people play video games. But other than that, yeah,
Well,
Here's a question
should
for all
we
three of you
be
guys.
seeing esports in the Olympics?
I don't know if I'd
No,
go that far.
no.
To be honest,
I don't think.
I'd say no.
I
I
Then again,
don't
half the
think
things
it would
that are
be
in the Olympics
entertaining.
shouldn't
I
be
think
in
the
the
Olympics should
Olympics.
stay to like the endurance factor, not the mindset. Like, yeah, go ahead, play chess. That's fine. I don't think anyone's gonna put that on the main stage though. But like video games, I just don't feel like it belongs in the Olympics.
Okay, for me, from the generation that I come from, me seeing someone play CS:GO on the main stage in the Olympics is not something I ever imagined being. My little brother, he might be completely different. He might think that it would be completely natural, and why haven't they done that before? But I think it's just a generational gap.
Oh, it's definitely a generational gap. That's why a lot of it's not even in the U.S. yet. Because growing up in the U.S., gaming was always seen as like a nerdy thing early on, and now it's accepted.
Taboo.
Yeah, now it's accepted. It's like, okay, people play video games and like to sit inside all day. It's still getting there.
I mean, they do.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
For all three of you, would you consider
Okay.
esporting or playing video games? Would you consider it an athletic activity?
Not athletic in the terms of that basically comes down to your own definition of athletics.
Well, this is the reason why I bring it up. The definition from Webster on what a sport is an athletic activity requiring skill or physical prowess and often of competitive nature.
See, but I wouldn't say that it's an athletic activity. But the problem is, you said skill and what was the other word you said?
Physical
Skill and what else?
prowess.
Yeah, which truthfully, if we went up against esports, obviously
I
we're
can
shit.
handle myself. Put me
But-
up. I'm ready. Shroud, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. Like, you think about it, these dudes, like, they fuck their arms up. Like, you see them when they're playing, they got these the fucking heat bands and shit on their arms. It's because they legit fuck up their arms
That doesn't mean you're physically
but
fit.
muscling though like that.
That just means that you fuck your arms up.
I'm not saying that it's fit.
That's not a
but-
physical. That's not.
I mean, but you have
yeah,
a
but that's
skill
not a
at
physical
something.
prowess. No, that's just hurting your arms. That's like saying you're a running back. You run the ball and you hurt they wear knee. Or look at this. Linemen wear knee braces. That's the same thing because they get knee injuries. But just because they wear knee braces, they have physical prowess.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
No,
obviously.
You know what the definition of physical prowess is?
Does anyone want to say yes?
No, Webster, what is it?
You don't, do you?
Oh, I peaked a lot there. My bad. That was a little loud. Yikes.
Okay. So physical prowess is essentially having the ability or the body structure physically to be able to perform the act.
Yes, absolutely. Then yes, because once you see a competitive,
But anybody can do it. You have to physically, when you're in a sport setting, you have to build your body that way. Anybody with two hands can play a video game.
Ryan, what you just heard.
Anybody that has a body.
Ryan,
can
what
play
you
football.
just said there,
That's not
hon.
true.
They have to build themselves that way.
Competitively?
Ryan, write what you hold on.
Competitively,
Hold on.
yes.
Write what you said there, Ryan. They have to build themselves that way. Yes. Absolutely. Playing a game, you have to eventually get into a certain spot. You have to find your own
Mentally
little...
or physically?
Physically,
Physically,
get yourself
you
into a
have
certain
Really?
space that you can feel comfortable moving and all that with. Yes, absolutely. I would say yes.
No. Adjusting your seat and putting your hands a certain way is not physically getting ready for an activity like it is lifting
Right.
300-pound weights to
Yes,
get ready to
but
hold off a
listen.
300-pound person.
But they have to they have to literally memorize distances with their arms. They have to be able to move their arm perfectly at times of needs, especially with PC esports. There's a whole memory system that they're training into their arms and their brain.
You're talking about reflex.
Wait, I want to ask a question. I want to ask one question. Ryan, if I said that I am 5'8",
Okay.
I'm going to play professional basketball, what would you say?
I would say go ahead, but try playing a football.
Well, no, the problem is Spud Webb, who won dunk contest and all type of shit like that, was a great pro basketball player. People told him he couldn't do it, but it was training. It's the same concept when it comes to these esports games. It's like, yeah, you have to have a certain skill. Like, I'm sorry, somebody isn't just going to pick up a controller and be like, oh, look, I am an esports player now. So that's the thing, is that, yes, it's different kind of physicalities. Like Bryce said, people say, like, there is people in the esports company that they're called old and they're only like 25. And they're like, oh, well, their reaction time slowed down.
Here's the problem, though. Anybody in the world sparring, not including people that have a mental or a physical problem or illness, can pick up and play a video game
You need to tap your
professionally if you train yourself.
well,
Not
Anybody can
Every-
pick up a
train
football.
themselves.
no, you
Yes,
cannot.
absolutely.
No, you cannot.
Ryan,
No, you
hold on,
can't.
hold on.
There's never Google how many 5'8" quarterbacks
hold
there
on.
are in the league. 5'8" players there are in football.
Now, Ryan, you're only talking about that one league.
Okay.
There's other
Talk
leagues.
about hockey. Talk about hockey.
No,
How
I'm
many
saying,
fo-
Ryan, I'm
Would
saying
you say?
not-
Would you say?
Not the NFL, but there's other leagues
Okay.
that adults play
Okay.
in. Is there not?
Okay. Would
And
you
they're still
consider?
respected.
Would you consider being 5'3" a disability?
No.
Google how many 5'3" NHL players there are.
See, but Ryan, you're only talking about...
Google how many 5'3", literally any other sport. And the only one that would be the exception is soccer, because all you have to do is run in that game.
I think I'm gonna be like Ryan.
That was all the
God
European
damn it.
listeners.
Not the Europeans. But Ryan, what
sue
you're
me.
saying is just because somebody's height, they can't do it. Just because
Never
somebody's
said-
build,
I
they
never
can't.
said that soccer wasn't a good sport.
No. Okay, we're over to the fact that you yelled at the Europeans for a shitty sport. Okay,
If I was
we
going
all
to yell at
think
the
it's a shitty
European,
sport.
I would say, 9! Get in the gas chamber!
Please stop peeking. Anyways, let me say what I was. You made me lose my train of thought because I'm just laughing at the fact that Europeans take soccer seriously.
Ooh, low shot, all right.
No, but like what you're saying. What you're saying is, since they're only so tall or only built this way, that they can't go for that sport.
I'm just saying that...
And then you're saying that it doesn't matter what shape or size you are, that you can go and play esports. I honestly disagree with that, because you can't be a fat guy. Well, you could. There's actually a few. Hold on.
How many
There's
are
a
in the
few-
actual
there's
party?
A few there's a few esports guys that are actually fat. But there's something in your brain is needed to do esports professionally, right? I genuinely believe that.
I do not believe that, and that's just because there's no science behind it. There's no anything. However, there's science behind in sports. There are certain types of people that can't play the sport. There are certain types of people, like it's not a physical disability. It's just that you're not the right build or you're not the right type of person. You know what I mean? Anybody can play a video game. Not every professionally. I feel like if you train enough. However, not everyone that trains like a professional can play professional sports.
I don't know if they play if they're training professionally with like professional teams and all that. Yeah, I think they could.
I don't think so. I don't. You can't, because you just don't fit. You just don't fit in that role.
All right. Yeah. Before we keep going down the rabbit hole of constantly just trying to like change our sides on everything, Because
I'm just saying that
I know what you're saying.
If you took someone that's 120 pounds and 5'11", they'd have a much better chance of making it into an esports team than they did like a football, a hockey, a soccer player. Any type of sport, they have much better odds of becoming an athlete in something that's not nearly as physical demanding and then something else. And mentally as well, because the amount of mental to be able to be physically drained and still push on is still something more mental than I think you can get out of an esports thing or any type of video game, because you're not ever physically drained, you're mentally drained. Where in a sport like that, you are physically and mentally drained. I don't think so.
I know for a fact you can be physically drained
How?
from video
How?
games. I'll send you a link to an article
How
of
can you be
people who
physically
literally
drained?
spend their entire lives on a computer and not pay attention.
And that's
that
that's
fucks
their
physical
problem.
things.
And
Hold on.
that's their problem. You're talking about having to spend 20 hours a day compared to someone that plays a sport for 3 hours, and how ridiculously drained they get. That just shows the level itself of comparison of how something you can sit for 20 hours and play a video game and stream. How if you're playing football or hockey, and I hate football, I hate it with a passion. Hockey's my main sport. I'm just saying that if you're playing a sport so physically demanding, you can only play a couple hours of it. But in order to get to the physical, even if you say you get physically drained or whatever, the amount of time you have to spend playing a video game is night and day to playing an actual sport like that.
I don't think anyone's arguing that fact, Ryan. What?
That's why I don't consider it. But you're going back to the point is that I don't consider it. I can still consider it a sport. I just don't think it should be regarded. It shouldn't get ratings over a basketball game or anything else. I see why, because not everyone's a gamer. A lot of people in the world would rather watch a sport like that than an esports game.
I'll be honest, I'm completely lost on what we're arguing at this point. Because I don't think
Should
we're
esports
going.
be recognized? Like
No,
you said,
no.
should esports get recognition?
No, we were
and
doing
I said
that.
to what?
We're on that,
And
but I'm saying after that, because we definitely changed it up for a second, and then it went
I
right
don't
back down the
believe so.
rabbit hole, like I was trying to avoid.
I don't
Let's
believe
just let's just stop talking about this, because we just keep looping
All right,
back
you
to
know
the
what?
fact
At me,
about.
my Twitter handle, if you want to talk about this more, at Bryce is me.
That's not your Twitter handle, but I will gladly take those.
Can I throw my hat in the ring real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah, considering you've been
So-
quiet.
Well, I think it's because me and you just been yelling at each other.
Well, this is
I've
why
been
I didn't
very
wanna do this.
patient.
You've been a cunt, Bryce.
Thanks, Dad.
So as far as like the physical difference between playing hockey, football, or going competitive melee CS:GO, as far as the athletic differences, I do believe there is, but I believe that the mass appeal for video games, and I believe video games will eventually outdo traditional sports such as football and hockey in time, because video games are easier to get into than those sports. And it has that mass appeal of, yes, if you do work hard enough, you eventually can make it into the competitive league, but I believe it also varies for each video game with different types of results. With Melee, it's pretty much only down to the best players. Even if you spent like the next 7 years practicing like 12 hours a day, you are probably not going to defeat the 5 gods of Melee. It's probably not going to happen. But
Say the 5 gods.
I'm-
Melee. I'm sorry.
that
What's a melee?
Okay, I'm a
CS:GO?
little
But
bit-
no, I don't follow Melee's
I don't know.
things enough to like. I'm sure that's a thing, but it just sounds funny from the outside. I'm sorry.
Okay, for anyone who isn't familiar to Melee, it's a Super Smash Brothers game.
If they're listening to
And-
this podcast, I would hope they don't, because there's literally Melee's been
Well,
around for
here's the
so
thing.
long.
I'm in the podcast.
Five
and I
Gods-
didn't even know that Melee was abbreviation for Smash Brothers Melee.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
then I'm sorry.
I was not.
I
I
just,
was
The
not
more
a
you know.
Nintendo- I wasn't a Nintendo person.
But the 5 gods regarded people as if any one of them entered into a tournament, 99.9% of the time they came out winning. And it was always a spectacle when any of the 5 gods went against each other. That basically end of story. They were the end all be all for Melee. And now, right now that's been kind of being torn apart because the gods are God, it sounds weird saying it. It's just been going on for so long that people are starting to catch up, but there was a time where they were completely undefeated. No one was able to match them. But for athletic prowess, I don't think that football or hockey is more athletic than some competitive video games. I just believe that they are different.
I agree with that statement. There's definitely a difference.
I'm sure you're surprised to hear that I don't agree with that.
I'm happy you're here in this podcast, Ryan. I really am.
I'm not.
I'm genuinely grateful.
I'm
that you're here.
genuinely not. Why? Because I add
No, 'cause
diversity.
you have a
It's good to
different,
hear
yeah,
a
you have a
point of
different
view.
view, which is good. It's better than
Yeah.
I don't think, and I don't want friends that I'll just say, yeah, that's cool. Like
You don't
it's
have
like us
friends,
going
so you
to.
have to worry
You're
about it.
absolutely right. It's like when we all go out and say, oh, I don't care what we're eating. I want one person to one day just say,
Well,
I have had
genuinely,
enough
I
of
do
this.
care. I do care, but fuck you all. You all have to pick.
I hate you.
Go eat your fucking 50 tacos, you fat fuck.
It was $50 worth of tacos.
And I would like to point out that I had at least 7 of them.
Exactly. Hell yeah, I'm not gonna eat Taco Bell.
Go eat your tacos.
I
you fat
don't
fuck.
like Taco Bell.
Can you
and
pass me
pizza.
the taco,
Fuck,
please?
I hate you. I hated you that day. Talking about games. I know we did. I should have said this. Tabletop RPGs are like my sweet thing. Do you guys consider? Hold on. Let me
What?
speak like a man for a second and get my words right. You guys consider board games and shit like in the same type of gaming as in video games? If that makes sense.
I think mentally speaking, absolutely yes.
I would say no because I don't know, like board games, RPG board games. I guess I would put in a different category. 'cause
RPG
you
board
actually
games.
play as a character.
Give me an example of an RPG board
Players.
Like
game.
Dungeons and Dragons is
Um,
an
there
RPG
were-
role playing game. There, buddy.
No,
Okay, but
RPG
I-
role
are we
game.
still?
Would
Board
it
game.
not be Gloomhaven?
Gloomhaven would technically be an RPG because of you can act out.
And it's
things with
also
your
a board
characters.
game because it comes with a board.
Wait, are we still talking about like competitive
No,
level
no, we're just
esports
talking about
or
just
just
in
You
general
can't.
of gaming.
No, there's no such thing as a competitive board game. It's not to a high enough pace.
chess,
Obviously,
shogi?
you've never
Again,
played Risk.
defined by the Olympic Committee, who no one gives a fuck about. Again, I could run in a straight line. And it could be considered
All
a
right.
sport.
We're,
Excuse me.
we're going down the biggest fucking rabbit hole.
So is football. You know, you throw the ball to the receiver and they
Yeah, but
just have
here's
to
the
run
difference.
straight.
There's strategy and tactics in that game. There's nothing in running straight.
What do you mean? There's complete strategy, leg
What,
placement,
when
You
to
gotta
breathe
make
and
sure
when
that
not
your
to
arms
breathe.
are in tempo.
leg placement, arm tempo. Come on,
Again, you're
Ryan.
talking about a full team versus a team, not 2 individuals.
Taking an inside lane.
Yeah,
taking
Brian,
an
Sorry, for it
outside
to be
lane.
a sport, there has to be teams at least. At least
There are
2
Okay,
teams.
then how about the baton
I'm team
pass?
number one. You're
Again,
team number
that's
two.
a race. Races are competitions. They're not sports.
I mean, football's about racing to the end line
It's
and
not. It's
scoring
about
that
scoring
touchdown.
more points. It's not
The
about
ends
racing.
line.
I've been out of football for a while.
Look.
I don't really care about football.
The ends line.
Yeah, okay. I think
What's
we're, I
an
think
end
we're
line?
completely done
The goal line.
with talking about the competitions in esports because we just keep coming back and picking on Ryan. So,
You keep
for
picking on me.
mistaken-
No, I've defended
for-
everything
Nope.
perfectly.
nothing. You've defended nothing perfectly.
I have defended nothing, Mister. The Olympic Committee says it, so I must abide by it.
Hey, that's Colin. I'm just
People
backing
consider
you up.
People consider racing a motorsport, and NASCAR
Yeah.
is not a sport to me. It's a race.
Yeah.
What the?
They
yeah,
go
NASCAR
through-
is fucking
Okay,
just dumb.
so,
You go
yeah,
in a circle.
because-
but going in a straight
okay,
line
okay,
pretty fast is
okay.
pretty fun.
So
Okay.
going in a circle in a car isn't, but going in a circle while you're running is. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm saying that is also a sport because they're putting themselves in such mental and physical strain, being stuck in cars that have to be stripped bare bone, and they have to withstand like 110, 120 Fahrenheit temperatures to
Okay.
stay in the car for as long as
So
possible.
is firefighting a sport?
Yes, absolutely.
Firefighting.
Firefighting's a sport
Absolutely.
because of the physical and mental
Yeah,
mentality and the
And
degree
whatever
of heat they
team
have to sit
saves
in.
the more people stuck in the fire wins, dude. Come on. That's
I
why they
guess.
send multiple fire stations out at the big fire scenes. It's just one big game
Whoever
to 'em.
whoever lets the most people burn loses.
Yeah, exactly.
They send them to do different house fires at the same time. Whoever can put it out faster.
That's why they
wins.
get medals, dude. It's obviously a big game. It's
Yeah,
obviously the
only
biggest
companies.
game.
Yeah, well, no. Listen, the companies around here get medals for letting people burn to death, not saving them. You gotta get that one right.
My bad.
Wait, fire companies get metal?
No, the people get medals, and apparently in the town that I live in, even if they fuck up, they still get medals.
Wait, who got a medal? That's where I don't want to talk about
Prospect.
this one.
It's to remind them of their fuck up.
So yeah, firefighting video games really good in correlation. BGA.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, isn't that just basically Rainbow
Look,
Six
we've been
Siege?
all
What is
over,
Rainbow Six Siege? Policing?
We've been all over in this podcast. Okay?
Back to board games.
No, it's fine.
That's
So
not
were
even
we
a
just
video
going
game.
over-
How did we get to board games?
I don't know, Bryce brought it
I
up.
asked if you guys were. Well, look, I was just asking about board games. I like board games, and I'm 5 and get
Yeah.
distracted.
I think
easily.
board games have the word in them that's most appealing. Board, because I always feel that way when I
I
play
hate
them.
you. I saw that joke coming from a mile away. Absolutely hate you.
Oh, there's a peek
I'm
for
sure
you,
there's a
Bryce.
few. I looking.
Google
I hate
Hangouts.
you. Colin doesn't.
That's an inside
understand that.
joke you'll never get. Yeah.
Yeah. God.
That would be the pre-recording.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna talk about like what board games
No,
we enjoy
no.
playing?
I don't think so because Ryan doesn't want to talk about his board games.
You can go ahead and talk about board games. I don't really
I mean,
care.
I honestly just feel like this podcast is just going to be us bullshitting. A solid hour.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
yeah, I'm
thought it
fine
was
with
gonna be
that.
It really
Um,
is.
We're almost at an
literally
hour.
almost at an hour. It's been 5 minutes. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I just really love Dungeons and Dragons because I get to be outside of my pathetic life for at least an hour. So, that's my opinion on board games.
Yeah, but
I love
when we play Dungeons and Dragons, your pathetic life seems to push into that game,
Thank you.
oof.
I'm so happy you're getting the story of my campaign.
and that's exactly why it sucks.
Big oof.
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 Usually it's called Dungeons and Dragons. This one's just called Bryce and Life.
Pricing life. Oh, I made some very
Well,
interesting
slice of
characters for
Bryce.
you guys. Our next session, by the way. Very interesting.
For
And is Stool
Again,
coming back?
VGA, stay on topic.
We are on topic. Talking about my real life games, my IRL video game. I like to call them.
are we becoming an IRL stream
Yes,
now?
absolutely. We're all gonna just start IRL streaming
I am Ice Poseidon.
right after the podcast gets put up on whatever service we're
Wow.
using.
What
which
service are we using?
I don't know. I'm gonna probably pay
should
for the
use
one
iTunes.
service I found. Well, it's gonna be put up on iTunes. I'll
mean
go into
iTunes?
details off.
Can you actually put shit up on iTunes without even like? Getting
No, you have to go get a RSS. I think it's called.
I don't know what that even.
Yeah,
is called.
don't worry. It's the people who are tech savvy, aka me or Scotty, will deal with it. And I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be me who deals with it.
I have a snowball now.
Yeah, I don't
I have a
edit.
snowball now.
That's all, Bryce.
It's
Speaking of editing, why don't you do that? You know, that YouTube channel you have going.
I really was hoping
Bryce
we
is
could get
me on
an
YouTube.
entire podcast through. where
Very,
you
very,
didn't
very
bring it
good.
up, but I
Very
really hate
good.
you.
Very good Call of Duty gameplay. You used to have how to start an esports team, but he didn't like looking at it himself, so it's taken down now.
Oh no,
Other
it's
than
just
that,
private.
he's a
They're all
really good
there. I just privated
They're
a bunch.
private, yeah, he privated them because he's a pussy.
because
Anyway,
when-
that'll do it for this episode of the
no, what I did is I privated a whole bunch of stuff because I do want to start uploading and I do want to start streaming more, especially because Scotty's getting into streaming. I've always wanted to do stuff online.
I mean, it's not that hard to get into streaming. You press a button on Xbox now, and hey, look, I'm streaming.
Well, what you don't get is I've always been a person who'd rather do it with people than a solo creator.
I don't blame you, but what's the difference? I mean,
Look, this is a
What is
podcast
it?
about video games. Okay, we're not going to get
are we
into
not
my.
talking about?
we're not
we're
gonna
talking
get
about
into
live
Bryce's
streaming video
me.
games. I thought.
Look, we're not.
First thing
Shut
out of
up.
Destiny.
Look, we're not getting into Bryce's me's YouTube channel career. Okay.
No, but I'm trying to get in more. I noticed, like, when I was starting to stream, like, when I kept trying to do it, my problem is when I play games, I don't talk that much.
That's why.
But I noticed in my last stream, I was talking a lot more, and then I noticed that I got 5 viewers in the party. And I was like, okay, so I think I'm taking the steps in the
That's
right
why
direction.
I play with friends. Because you're just sitting there talking.
Yeah, I
What
can
if, like,
respect
is
that.
there like a group of people on Twitch that just randomly join people to see if they like are okay?
Yeah, that's what a lot of small, like
Really?
a lot
Yeah.
of some. It's just like on YouTube, how some people look for the smaller creators, because they crave
I didn't know that.
for like something new, stuff like
The only
that, or
time I
they want
see,
like
like-
more of a connection with the creator right away.
The only time I don't look out of my subscription, I look at recommended. That's it. So unless you like show up and recommended, I'm not gonna see it, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
I just searched like random games.
well,
Sometimes I'll be
yeah,
like Dead by
well-
Daylight.
well, that's the
and then
thing,
just,
like,
look at random
Destiny
shit.
and stuff. I know a lot of like people, but they always have shitty mic qualities, and I'm like, God, I don't ever want to be like that.
Oh well, too bad. You're completely.
Well, you got
you're
a good one
completely
now.
like that right
You're
now.
welcome.
Don't let
Scotty
anyone
snowballed
lie.
Scotty snowballed me.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
And it's blue,
Colin,
even though
how
it's
do you
white.
we've about streaming and stuff like that? I don't know if I don't think we've ever talked to you about it.
I don't
Do
think
you
Colin
wanna do
talked
that?
much this podcast.
Oh, he has. It's just not as much as us.
As watching streaming, I'm not a big fan of. I'm more of a fan of, that YouTube content where they put effort in editing, what's presented, scripts. I prefer YouTube videos over streaming most of the time, but if I'm the one streaming, I have no idea how the fuck I would go about doing that. I don't know if
Well,
I don't even know.
well, have you ever had an interest in doing it? Like, would you ever want to do that? Like, just sort of like a hobby. I'm not saying it could. I don't. I'm definitely one who like went at it that way, and it was just the wrong. That's why I took so long. Those videos.
I don't think I'm someone who's interesting to watch.
So you don't have that urge to like just do that. What I just it's to me it's a fun way of meeting people who share the same love and interest in the game. So that's
So,
kind
Colin,
of why I do it.
When you say that you don't like people, like you don't think you'd be fun to watch, are you talking about the gameplay or with a face cam? Because I feel like you don't have to necessarily want to watch the game to know the person. Like if the person's good
kind of
enough,
both.
like you don't need a live cam. Like
I know, but I just don't think my gameplay would be entertaining enough.
Scotty's
I
Or
guess
my
it depends on the game
commentary.
you play.
Scotty only puts a webcam on because of his crazy green hair, and it just attracts all the cool kids.
Yeah, man, I'm just trying to get the ninja
Exactly.
stuff, that ninja hype.
Oof.
I don't own a camera.
Dude, but my favorite part is that everybody.
I'm sorry, just the quiet. I don't own a camera. Ugh.
No, my favorite part is people like that see my hair. They're like, "Oh, for the Eagles!" Woo, woo, woo. And I'm like,
You mean Joker?
"Yeah."
That's
Uh-huh.
when you say no. That's when you
Yeah, I
switch
don't
and
have
say
a
no, it's
Joker
for the
obsession.
Jets, and then if they say, "Oh yeah, go Jets," say no, it's for the Eagles. Just keep going back and forth between Jets and the Eagles.
Speaking of the Eagles, they're on right now, aren't they?
I don't care. Yeah, I watch sports,
Yeah.
man.
Who
Let's take
cares?
this
Yeah.
podcast. Hold on. Let's
After
Oh,
this,
okay,
I'm gonna play a
esport.
video.
I'm
game.
definitely
hold
playing
on.
a video game.
Let's look at our esport Eagles.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh no! Thank you for bringing that up.
Ooh, not doing so good. our
Esports. How do you feel about franchises like the NBA picking up players to compete in NBA tournaments, like esports NBA? I think that's
Esports
stupid.
NBA.
I think
as
it's cool.
fuck. I'm sorry. Like because they're not branching out of a different like genre or anything. They're just picking up people to play the video game version of the fucking team, basically.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Wait. I don't think I'm understanding this. Could you?
So I'm trying to.
What's going on?
I'm trying to remember what teams actually do it, but there's like professional organizations, either in the NFL. I'm pretty sure it's only the NBA right now. I'm not 100% sure because I don't follow the. What's the NBA's video game? I know it's called something different.
NBA, it's 2K19.
2K19, the whole
Let's do it,
2K19 series of football, basketball, and stuff. There's esports organizations for it, but pro like NFL teams. I don't think NFL does. I need to stop saying NFL. NBA teams have picked up players in video game format to play and compete in 2K19 tournaments and represent
So-
that organization.
They're taking the players that play
The video game.
basketball game to play the video game.
No, the people that play the video game, they're just picking them up and putting them underneath. Hold on.
I'm lost.
I will find.
I am
lost.
also
I think this
lost.
is something that I will send to you guys and we can come back to, because it's really hard for me to describe with my limited brain cells that are left
Okay.
in my brain.
So what you're saying is you couldn't be an esports player because you're a limited brain cells.
Okay, here. Let me read this to you right now. Hopefully this works. There are 17 National Basketball Association teams that are participating in the NBA 2K League. Okay? The Boston Celtics, like the Golden State Warriors, Philadelphia 76ers even have a fucking team apparently, where they are picking up video game players to represent that organization, meaning to represent the 76ers. So they're getting paid by the 76ers to train and win NBA 2K League tournaments.
I don't see an issue with
I don't
that.
see the appeal, but I don't really give a shit.
I don't understand. To me, it's just
I
a
don't see
weird
the
step
appeal.
because they're not really. It's not really spreading their organization. Really, they're just putting it into people who play the game. It's like, I don't see any growth from the company. That's more business.
But if
What are you
video
talking
games are
about
about to
growth?
be okay, I don't think like the sport video games of sports like
I don't even know.
NBA or 2K4 or 2K19. I don't think those are gonna make it big in the esports.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
I don't think they're
Oh, yeah.
fun to watch, but I don't think it's stupid per se. I think they're just putting their money in the wrong
You
area.
have to like the sport in order to do it. Like if you don't like the game, you're not going to watch the tournament.
Exactly.
I don't like Overwatch, so I don't watch Overwatch. But I like Siege, and I'll watch Siege occasionally. Just like I like Smite, and I'd watch Smite occasionally.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm
I
saying
just don't. I don't think there's a broad enough horizon. I don't think there's a big enough community that would want to watch esport NBA when they can just watch the normal NBA. I don't
that's
really think
yeah,
there's
that's
a
what
big
my
enough
biggest
appeal.
thing is. Like they're not really spreading like with them purchasing players to play for the video game. It's not like their
I
audience
think-
is going to
yeah,
stay
I
the
think I
same
understand.
because you're
That's what I
only
mean.
going to get a fraction
They
of the
already
people.
like basketball.
Yeah.
They're already people that like basketball. They just happen to like video games too. I
Yeah.
know where you're coming from.
So they're just
they're not expanding it.
It's I don't see them getting much more. It's all I'm saying.
Well, it's just the same thing with like football and all that and soccer. I mean, not our football, European football. Hello, European listeners. Shout out to you fucks. Anyway.
We already fucking pushed them out like at the halfway
It's all
mark.
right. Well,
so-
if you're back,
if you're
if
here,
you're
Already
back,
offended
if you're
them.
back, swastika. Anyway,
fuck,
fuck.
Oh.
You know, you fuckers control half the world with your little foot game. I
Look,
mean, why don't you give other sports a try?
look, I think
I
it's.
mean,
I
we
think
give
it's
soccer a try, and if it wasn't for the mountainous success of the NFL and their fucking beer sponsors, I'm sure there'd be plenty of other people that play soccer. But you don't give our shit a try, do you? No, you come up with rugby, and we got off of fucking football.
Wasn't
And I
rugby
think football
before
sucks,
football?
but it was, and this is what I'm saying. I think that football is just as retarded as rugby. But you people that play
Well-
rugby, you guys are psychopaths in disguise.
Okay,
You
okay,
motherfuckers are
okay, hold on.
crazy. And I would want you guys in our military.
I
You
think,
guys are fucking
I
psychedelic.
think this is a great place to end it while Ryan is very frustratedly going off at the Europeans that won't
I'm
ever
not going
listen
off
to
the
that.
fucking Europeans,
Okay.
motherfuckers.
Okay.
It's not our fault we had to bail them out of World War II.
I know,
Don't get
God.
me started on the Lend-Lease Act.
Okay, look, I think
Listen,
this
Listen,
is a good place
how
to
you doing
stop
over
it.
there, Mr. Churchill?
I think this is a good place to
Hold
stop
on, buddy.
it for today.
Here you go, buddy. Here's some American-made everything to keep you guys afloat.
Right.
Oh, what's that? America didn't join the war for
All
4
right.
years? Maybe it's because we were too busy
All
fighting
right.
off the savages in the fucking Pacific.
All right, all right.
Goddamn fucking Japanese
all right,
people.
all right. I'm gonna
Here's
just,
2
I'm
words
gonna,
to the Japanese.
Can I just mute him?
Ka
Can I just
boom.
mute him? We just lost every possible viewer we could have ever gotten.
All right, so this will probably get cut
No, that's
anyway. You
even
won't have to
if
worry
someone-
about it. So then,
right.
We're assuming that they even
won't.
listen
They
to
won't.
this far.
But I think this is a good place to end it for the first episode.
All right, well,
we're
fuck
definitely
all you
coming back.
Europeans.
We're definitely coming back to make sure Ryan can not
To make sure what?
apologize to the Europeans.
All right, here's my apology. World War II V-Day.
And that, I think we're done.
Okay.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful podcast. I'd like to thank our buddy, good old buddy from that big state over there, Colin, from coming in with the big old, weeaboo conversations and the amazing vernacular that he gave off on pretty much everything that we had to talk about until you didn't hear him because I'm pretty sure he was quiet for most of the podcast. But Colin, we'd love to have you on again, and I'm gonna need your autograph, okay, on this this Colbert mug. Thank you very much for coming, buddy. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye, guys.